Welcome to the Etihad Stadium, where Manchester City are looking to close in on Arsenal at the top of the Premier League table. Momentum has shifted, that's for sure, with Arsenal dropping points late on against bottom of the table Wolves on Wednesday. City can capitalise. They take on a Newcastle side who've had a positive change in momentum themselves, with 3 away wins in a row in all competitions, but this is a ground that the Magpies have desperately struggled against. Let's take you through the team, starting with Manchester City. Just the one change from their last league outing against Fulham 10 days ago. It's Omar Marmoush who comes into the lineup, and he's got a terrific record against Newcastle. 5 goals in the last 2 games against them, including a brace in the Carabao Cup semi-final first leg. It's a familiar back four and goalkeeper now for Manchester City. Donnarumma starts in goal. A back four of Nunez, Diaz, Guehi and Aït-Nouri. Bernardo Silva, Rodri and O'Reilly occupy the midfield spots. And Semenyo keeps his place with Marmoush on the wing, supporting Erling Haaland, the league's top goal scorer this evening. Newcastle make one change from their 6-1 win against Karabag on Wednesday. Ramsey comes in for Barnes, who drops to the bench. But other than that, Nick Pope starts in goal. The fullbacks are Kieran Trippier and Lewis Hall. Dan Burn and Malik Chow maintain their defensive partnership. It's a midfield 3 of Joe Willock, Tonali and Ramsey, with Gordon and Alanga on the flanks, and Voltemada is up top, of course. Bruno Guimaraes was a player who started in their previous league game 11 days ago, but he picked up a thigh injury and will be out for 6 weeks. The referee this evening, Thomas Bramall, will be overseeing things in what is a crucial match for Manchester City to put the pressure on Arsenal before they head to the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. So we are off and underway. Newcastle kicking off here in their away strip. The blue and orange number. Manchester City in their usual light sky blue kit with the white shorts. And it's a loose pass early on from Manchester City, but they do pick up the pieces with Rodri, who escapes the challenge of Kieran Trippier, looking to adopt an aggressive position early on. Newcastle, they're looking to press. Semenyo nearly loses out there, but manages to play it back to Diaz, who can find some space out the right for Nunez. Here's Semenyo now, cutting inside into the centre. And he's played it out wide to Ryan Aït-Nouri, who's really starting to find his feet in a City shirt. Had some injury problems early on in his City career, but there's been no doubting his quality. And he really is becoming a stalwart in that Manchester City team, as Gay's under pressure there from Jacob Ramsey and does pick up a free kick. And whilst on paper this should be an interesting game, Newcastle always pose a threat, and of course they did win the reverse fixture against Manchester City, but as far as the Etihad's concerned, Man City are unbeaten in their last 21 home Premier League matches against Newcastle, winning the last 16. And in fact, Newcastle haven't scored at the Etihad in the league for the last 6 encounters. So from that perspective, it's an uphill task, as Aït-Nouri drills across into the box, and that was dangerous, but it was well dealt with by Malik Chow. But it's a positive start from City, and they will be buoyant after the Arsenal draw against Wolves on Wednesday. They'll be looking to put the pressure on the Gunners, as a win today would put them just 2 points behind Arsenal. And of course, they still have to play the title chasers at the Etihad in a month or so. Nunez hooks it forward. Bernardo Silva can't quite take that down, but it's a scuff clearance from Dan Burn. He's got to deal with this, but Bernardo Silva does well to win it back. Here's O'Reilly on the right hand side, looks to take on Byrne, but Byrne sticks to his task and it's out for a corner kick. Eddie Howe watching on as he's looking to become only the second English manager to win a match at the Etihad since 2010. As Gordon forces the ball out for another corner for Manchester City. It's played short. Here's Diaz. Nunes onto Rodri. Bernardo Silva hooks it forward. It's a looping ball and it's dealt with by Chiao. Semenyo wins it back though for City on the right. Drills it across, just goes past Haaland. Ain't Nori. Now with the ball onto Diaz. Voltemada looking to hold the ball up and he does so well. Willock. Back to Hall, onto Byrne. Pope. Chow. Trippier. Into the pocket with Ramsey. They're in a deep position at the moment, Newcastle, but they work the ball out really well. But Tonali's pass is overhit and goes out for a throw-in for the home side. And as I was saying, Eddie Howe, since the 2010-11 season, English managers have taken charge of 76 Premier League away games at Manchester City, and only one has won that encounter, and that's Roy Hodgson in 2018. He led his Palace side to a 3-2 win at the Etihad, so it's a real tough task for English managers and any manager really to come here and win. Gordon picks up the loose ball. It's on the right hand side here. Gordon fresh off that 4-goal performance in midweek. Voltemada now. Shields off two, whips the ball in, but no one's in there. Perhaps needed the striker in there, but he was the one crossing the ball. Semenyo looking to power his way through, but can't quite do that. Well, Newcastle will just be looking to steady themselves in the early stages of this game, as they will have remembered the Carabao Cup disappointment in the semi-finals against Man City, and they did concede a number of early goals that really took the game and the tie away from them. So they'll just be looking to make sure that doesn't happen again. But Willock goes tumbling, asking for a foul, but nothing given. So it will be a goal kick for Manchester City. Donnarumma, City playing out from the back here as Diaz does opt to go long. Haaland looking to hold the ball up but just can't quite do that as the ball ends up ballooning off his foot and out for a throw. Hall hooks it into the centre of the pitch where Trippier can head it forward, but it doesn't find a player in blue and orange. Donnarumma for City. What a great signing he's been. So many pivotal saves made during this season as Haaland looks to turn down Burn, and Burn brings Haaland down, and it's a clear foul there that Thomas Bramall will look to give. Just a question of whether it will be a card that's shown, but it is pretty clear from Burn. It's just a bit too physical. I'm surprised that shirt didn't come off, to be honest. Eddie Howe right on top of it. And it is a yellow card for Dan Burn, the first of this match. And Haaland, he does usually find it tough against Newcastle. Rodri. Back to Diaz. Here's Bernardo Silva. Newcastle with the bank of 5 in that midfield. And it does look like they're playing a 4-5-1 really, with Voltemada in the midfield, and he has played there a couple of times in recent weeks. And we know what happened with Joelinton. He was a striker, but then he was evolved into a centre midfielder. And here is Voltemada looking to turn with some skill, but can't quite do it. Here's Haaland. It's a dangerous area for City on the edge of the box. Bernardo Silva up against quite a few Newcastle players, but does well to get it out to O'Reilly. It's back with Bernardo Silva. He looked to flick it towards goal, but it was dealt with by Newcastle, and Voltemada went down, but nothing given from the ref. I thought he'd given it, but he must not have blown the whistle. He was thinking about it though. And Lewis Hall gets a free kick under pressure and put to the ground by Marmouche. And Omar Marmouche, he's only scored 1 goal in the league this season, but he should feel encouraged against this team and should have that extra bit of encouragement and belief that he can get on the score sheet today, because he has scored 5 goals in the last 2 games against Newcastle. He got 3 in this exact fixture last season, and of course 2 in the Carabao Cup semi-final first leg. So Nick Pope to take this deep free kick on the left-hand side. Marmouche with the brace in the second leg, rather, that really did kill the tie off at the Etihad. Haaland contesting in the middle. And it's out with Rodri, who nods it down to O'Reilly. Rodri takes over. Plays it to Aït-Nouri on the left. A run's being made by the City left back, but the ball is overhit. And with Nick Pope. Tonali under pressure, but deals with it well, but his pass is just a little short, and O'Reilly can pick it up and play it back to Aït-Nouri in their own half. Gay now. And he slotted in very comfortably into the City back four alongside Ruben Diaz, who is now back fit after being out for a month or so. Got injured, of course, at the same time as Guardiola, who is still coming back from injury. But of course, that was a difficult time for City, and I think a lot of people were thinking this is really Arsenal's title. And that has been the general consensus all season, that this is the time for Arsenal to win the league. And at that point, City, they were really short at the back. But they did act quickly in January, bringing in Marc Guéhi and Antoine Semenyo, who have both really added to this City team. And the momentum is really with them here as Marmoush takes it forward. O'Reilly, here's a chance. O'Reilly! What a finish! Brilliant from Nico O'Reilly. Drills it into the corner past Nick Pope in a flash. And City a goal up. And O'Reilly, he got a goal against Fulham, and he's helped himself to another against Newcastle. The perfect start for City. It was picked up in the middle of the field. Marmoush carried the ball brilliantly, played it across to O'Reilly. Haaland was making a run to the left, but O'Reilly fancied himself from that range and just drilled it past Nick Pope, who could do nothing. Although Pope did get a hand on it that just helped it into the corner and into the side netting, but there was just too much power on the effort from Nico O'Reilly. As Pep scores the goal as well to help it in with the left foot swing on the touchline. But Nico O'Reilly with the first goal of this game. But here's an opportunity if he stayed on side. Anthony Gordon, the flag has now gone up against the Newcastle number 10. And that's O'Reilly's third goal of the season. And City have just hit a landmark for most home goals in the Premier League since the 2016-17 season. 500 home goals since Pep Guardiola stamped his imprint on this team. And what a time it's been for the City fans. And they're not done yet. They know that their manager is closer to leaving than ever. But boy, are they going to enjoy having him for as long as he does stay. And that's flicked over to Gordon. It's a brilliant first touch with his head. He could get a shooting opportunity. He's forced wide though. He gets the shot away, but it's saved by Donnarumma. Good play from Gordon, but his shot was matched by the imposing Donnarumma, and it needed to be more in the corner from Gordon there, as Donnarumma was equal to it. Ramsey onto Trippier. Newcastle looking to respond. Alanga looking to charge at the Man City defence. Trippier finds a nice pass inside to Ramsey. Ramsey goes down, but it's a well-won tackle, and Semenyo can break away for Manchester City, and it's a dangerous area again. Marmoush driving inside in the box, takes a shot, and it stings the palms of Pope, and Semenyo couldn't quite get the connection he needed on that shot, on the volley. But Man City looking electric going forward. O'Reilly picks it up in the midfield. Haaland, Marmouche, almost onto Bernardo Silva in the box, but just overhit. Malik Chow sprays it out to Lewis Hall, who takes it down brilliantly. Here's Willock looking to run up against Nunez, tries to thread it through to Gordon, but that will comfortably go out to Donnarumma. Here's Diaz now for Manchester City. And now, as it stands in the league table, City just the 2 points away. As Haaland plays it to Rodri, who drives into the box, pulls it back, but then it's cleared by Ramsey, who is tracking back. City looking for more, looking to kill the game off in the first half. That seems to be the intention from them. So corner taken short. O'Reilly back to Bernardo Silva, who clips it in. It's a great looking ball. Pope anticipates well though and punches clear. And it will be a corner for Manchester City as it ricocheted off the corner flag out for a corner. Bernardo Silva out to O'Reilly. Plays it sharply inside, but it's won back by Newcastle. And Willock can drive forward here. There's 2 up for Newcastle, but 3 back for Man City. Alanga now on the right. Looking to cut inside. And wins a corner. It's good work there from Alanga, who has found it tough at the start of his Newcastle career. But that's positive work from him, and he wins his side a set piece. And we're just looking at the Anthony Gordon chance again, who did really well to touch it past Gahey, but it just went a little bit wide for him. But he then did well to cut inside past the City defender and get a shot away. But you do think you've got to be taking those chances as Trippier whips it in, and it's a header that's does take a touch from Donnarumma, so it will be another corner for Newcastle. And that was well worked. It was a great ball in from Trippier. And it was Chow that was jumping. And Donnarumma may have just got a little touch on the ball. But the ball was going over anyway. But nonetheless, Newcastle will take this corner from the other side on the left. Tonali to swing this ball in. And he does, and it can't be the first man though. It's forced to Ramsey, who plays it back to Hall, and it takes a deflection, and it's a wicked one because it's fallen into the back of the net. And Lewis Hall equalises for Newcastle. Got a bit of fortune, but we're level here. A nasty deflection finding its way into the bottom corner beyond Donnarumma's reach. 1-1 at the Etihad. It was fortune initially for Ramsey because it just fell in his path as Nunez's clearance hit Aït-Nouri, found Ramsey, who laid it off to Hall. He had a speculative effort, but that effort took a wicked deflection. I think it was off Aït-Nouri that just forced it to bounce into the bottom corner. Gahey looking for calm from his teammates, as there is a long way to go, and City won't panic from this, that's for sure, but it is a blow nonetheless because they had started well, but Newcastle looked to keep probing, and they had looked a threat on the break, as Gordon just gets bodied as he tried to press Donnarumma. Hall now looking to shield it out for a goal kick and does so successfully. So it's Newcastle's first goal at the Etihad in 6 attempts. So they have had a change in that regard. As Pope kicks his goal kick towards the north stand that is being built, is being constructed for extra capacity. Donnarumma for City. Haaland. Nunez. Back with Diaz. Donnarumma goes long. Picked up by Chow. Tonali battling. Trippier playing it back to Burn. Here's Chow. Hall. Out to Trippier. Trippier. Lovely flick from Elanga, but intercepted in the end by Silva. Haaland now lays it off to Semenyo. Here's Marmoush now. It's slick from City. Marmoush gets a bit of an opening, gets a shot away, and it's blocked. Rodri now picks the ball up for City. Nunez. Bernardo Silva onto Diaz. Newcastle looking to press. Diaz now. 35 yards away from goal onto Semenyo. Diaz. And it's played through to Haaland on the right. He clips it in and O'Reilly's heading it forward and it's in. It's a double for Nico O'Reilly. And it's a brilliant header. City 2-1 up again. And what a header from O'Reilly. And another assist for Haaland. That's 7 in the campaign. And City, they weren't level for long. And they have looked sharp going forward. And O'Reilly with a surging run into the box. And a brilliant header. Back from where it came from. And into the corner. Pope had no chance. City 2-1 up. And it's ominous signs from Manchester City. They're flowing, going forward, and they're also shoring up at the back. Semenyo loses out. Here's Alanga. Can't quite get onto it as Gahey plays it forward. Rodri to Gahey. And Marmoush gets a clip from Lewis Hall, and it's going to be a throw-in. Burns switches the play to Trippier. Newcastle looking to get a foothold back in the game as Willock takes it down nicely and plays it forward. A nice switch in the end to Jacob Ramsey on the left. Up against Nunes, Ramsey clips it in, and it's a header forward, but hooked away and caught by Donnarumma. Rodri. And when he's getting back to his best, you know you've got a chance. You've got that spine back of Diaz, Rodri and Haaland. But here's Gordon, gets a shot away, and Donnarumma claims it at the second attempt. But it is ominous from Manchester City. It really is. They are building another title-winning team. Arsenal really needing to earn their medal, that's for sure. Donnarumma. Here's Rodri. Just a bit of an overhit pass, and Aït-Nouri can't keep that in, so it will be a throw-in for Newcastle. Tonali's just holding his knee, which is never a good sign. And Newcastle fans won't like that sight. And Donnarumma's come out from his goal to check on his fellow countrymen. And Tonali is on the deck and getting that knee seen to. So, just over half an hour gone at the Etihad. Manchester City with the 2-1 lead. They got ahead early thanks to Nico O'Reilly, but Newcastle responded quickly, and Lewis Hall's deflected effort made it 1-1, but then Nico O'Reilly was at the double again shortly after Newcastle's equaliser and put the home side 2-1 up inside half an hour. And Tonali is back up on his feet. And Newcastle fans will be hoping that he will be okay to continue. So Newcastle will be a man short for now, as Trippier will take this throw. It's flicked on by Gordon. Ramsey's trying to get there, but it's cleared away by Diaz. A bit of miscommunication between Burn and Hall, and Haaland was latching onto that. O'Reilly heads forward. Silva. And it will be a free kick for Newcastle. The referee spotted something there. So a bit of a discussion going on between Tonali, Trippier and the referee, Thomas Bramall. Maybe about that foul on Tonali. Or maybe about the actual... Maybe about Tonali having to actually be off the field for 30 seconds because he did receive treatment. And Chow and Burns there now. They're in discussion with the referee, but I don't think anything can be changed now. And Chow just looking like he was caught there, maybe just holding his tuff. But he's still in his mouth, but may have been caught there as Burn tries to keep the ball for Newcastle after the free kick was launched in. And Semenyo's chasing this, but Trippier can still let the ball go out for a throw-in for Newcastle. Hall throws long. Back with Man City though, Rodri. Once again. Over the top to Marmoush. Brilliant touch from the number 7. Marmoush lays it across and O'Reilly for the hat-trick puts it wide. Big opportunity for number 3 and again unmarked Nico O'Reilly. Surging into the box. Really dangerous. And I'm not sure he actually needed to slide for that ball, O'Reilly. He may have just been able to come onto it and side foot it. Tonali. Trippier. Plays it back to Chow. Chow sprays it out to Hall. Here's Ramsey. Hall. And his pass is loose and out for a throw into City. And Nunes still trying to take this throw in, but still waiting for an option. Eddie Howe trying to say to the ref that he's taken a while. As Semenyo takes that ball down out of the sky superbly, plays it out to Ain't Nori at left back. Ain't Nori. Plays it to Semenyo on the left. Semenyo plays it in first time, but Pope can claim the cross. Trippier plays it forward to Elanga. This is dangerous for Newcastle. Elanga looks to find Gordon, who touches it brilliantly. Still with Gordon, just on the edge of the box. It's a shot from Willock, but it's comfortably saved by Donnarumma. But when Newcastle have gone forward, they have been dangerous. And Willock shot in the end, not testing Donnarumma as Elanga puts the pressure on. But City can clear. Haaland, Burn heads out for a throw-in to City. Here's Nunes. Clips it in, aiming for Marmoush, but it's out with Ain't Nori now. Bernardo Silva. Rodri clips it forward, and it's flicked away by Burn. Nunes now manages to force it out for a throw-in. Newcastle putting the pressure on, but Gahey evades the pressure. Here's Rico Lewis now. Gordon can look to break, and he looks to put the burners on as he tries to get it past Diaz, who puts his arm across, and it's a clear foul from Diaz, and it will be a yellow card as well. He knew he wasn't going to beat him for pace, and perhaps had no other option. So a yellow card for Diaz. So a chance for Newcastle to load the box with this free kick that will be taken by Lewis Hall, will it? Or it's Tonali now that steps over it, repositions the ball, and looks poised to take this. Looks to be okay after a bit of knee discomfort. Tonali. Great ball, and Burn flicks it forward, and it's 2-2. Oh, the flag's up. The flag is up. It was a brilliant looking ball in from Tonali. And let's have a look. Yeah. Dan Burn, he was nudged almost into an onside position. Couldn't get back onside. Lovely ball in from Tonali though. Burn did what he needed to, but it was offside. But encouraging for Newcastle. Definitely encouraging. They've got the quality to pose a real threat to Manchester City, but so do the home side. And that was almost a tactical push there from Diaz, just to put Burn offside rather. Anyhow, with the multicoloured pen, And he'll probably be relatively pleased with actually what he's seen in the first half from Newcastle. But City have just been very good. But I think from Newcastle's point of view, probably will be disappointed with the fact that O'Reilly wasn't picked up for the second goal. Although it was a good run into the box from him. But Newcastle do seem to be struggling with O'Reilly's positioning in this game. But they have won it back, Newcastle. It's played through to Alanga on the left. Up against Mark Gahey. What can he do, Alanga? Alanga gets into the box. Plays it out to Gordon. Gordon looks to fashion a shooting opportunity. But can't quite do that. And it's back with Donnarumma. And Semenyo can pick it up for City. Big opportunity here, but his pass is just too heavy. And Marmoush can't take that in his stride and get a shooting chance. Still with City though. Rodri. Gay. Bernardo Silva. Marmoush. Back to Bernardo Silva. Steady possession for City. They'll be happy with their work in this first half as Gay plays a pass inside. Haaland, lovely footwork from him. Can he get a shot away? He can, and it just goes wide. But good play from Haaland. Lovely footwork, and you don't always see that from him. Lovely strength to begin with. And that was a lovely shift with his feet. And his right-footed shot was always going wide, but really good play from Haaland. And there will be 5 minutes of added time in this first half. So still work to be done for both sides. Can Newcastle get an equaliser and perhaps change the team talk of Pep Guardiola in that City dressing room? And perhaps change the team talk of Eddie Howe as well. But it's been a really good game so far. Both teams showing real quality. Trippier with a kung fu kick in field to Willock. Trippier, Tonali. Willock tried to play it forward on the volley. But a difficult technique and Donnarumma can claim. Nunes. Diaz. Donnarumma out, taking his time. Going long, but it's picked up by Hall. Here's Ramsey. Hall tried to pick it up there, but Semenyo was equal to it, and City can play it out. Brilliant pass from the left foot of Diaz. O'Reilly, the goal scorer of both goals for City, that sees them 2-1 up at this stage. Ain't Nouri tried to prod it through to O'Reilly, but it's picked up by Newcastle, but they can't quite keep it. And City maintain possession here as we approach the end of what has been a terrific first half. Here's Marmoush. Nunes, Marmoush. Oh, what an effort from Marmoush. And we saw him score a similar goal last season. A dipping effort from very similar range. Just a bit closer in, and it was a bit wayward in the end. It looked closer than it was. But that had a lot of power on it. Ireland flicks forward. Chow heads it to Hall. Hall then clips it inside to Trippier, who heads it back to Nick Pope. Then throws it out to Trippier again. Trippier aiming for Elanga with the long ball. It's taken down brilliantly by Elanga. Tonali now switches the play magnificently to Jacob Ramsey. A chance for Newcastle perhaps. Ramsey, the flag's up. The flag is up. And I'm not sure it needed to be. But I think Tonali's pass caught Ramsey off guard a little bit. He wasn't expecting that. But it was offside. So that stems the attack for Newcastle as we enter the last minute of added time in this first half at the Etihad Stadium. Donnarumma. Marmoush can't win that and Chow towers over him. Tonali now, the furthest forward, tries to flick it forward, but Willock can't quite keep it. And here's a chance for City. It's a 3-on-2 here. Rodri out to Marmoush on the left. Up against Chow. Marmoush looks to cut inside. Is that a handball? He shoots anyway. Pope saves comfortably. And I don't think the whistle went for handball. So that would have been interesting if that had found the net. But Newcastle can look to play forward. And can they mount an attack? Or they do slow it down. And I'm not sure there will be time for another attack. But Tonali's found a pocket. And he's been played again by Elanga. But it doesn't quite come to anything. And Donnarumma can pick it up. And that is the half-time whistle. An enthralling first half at the Etihad. It started brilliantly for Manchester City. Nico O'Reilly firing home to make it 1-0 to the home side. But Newcastle responded well. And they got one back. But that didn't last long as Man City got themselves in front again. Nico O'Reilly surging into the box once more. A brilliant towering header, finding the side netting. And he is the reason City find themselves 2-1 up at the break. Welcome back to the Etihad. Second half about to get underway here. Manchester City with the 2-1 lead going into this second half, and there has been a substitution for the home side. Ruben Diaz making way, and Kushinov is on and into action straight away up against Gordon, and Kushinov clears, but not sure if it was an injury from Diaz. He was on a yellow card, so that may have been part of the thinking from Pep Guardiola, as he is aware of the threat Newcastle pose with the pace they have, and Diaz, he's not the quickest, but here is Alanga who is quick. On to Trippier. Newcastle looking to start the second half with intent. Chow. Into Voltemada. Can't hold the ball up. Here's Haaland now looking to drive again up against the Newcastle defence. Burn puts a foot in, but it's still with City, but Semenyo's pass is overhit and Pope can pick the ball up. Trippier into Alanga. Here's Voltemada out to the left for Jacob Ramsey. Ramsey charging forward, plays it to Lewis Hall, who plays it into the box, appeals for handball, nothing given. Voltemada now to Ramsey. Out to Hall, Hall back to Voltemada. Voltemada. Chow. On to Trippier. Trippier switches the play nicely over to Hall, who takes it down well. Ramsey. Been a positive start from Newcastle in this second half. Hall gets past Rodri with ease. His pass just about finds Gordon, but Rodri back in with the tackle, does well. But here's some space for City. Bernardo Silva on the ball. Shifts it past Voltemada. And gets his shirt pulled and wins a free kick for City. And Gordon having a word with the referee, not happy with something. Well, City, they've not been flawless this season, that's clear. They've dropped the second most points from half-time leads in the Premier League this season. Only West Ham have dropped more points with 13, but City have dropped 11, and that's a loose pass. Alanga, his touch got away from him though, and City can regain possession. Here's Ain't Nouri. Tried to find Semenyo, but Burn can flick away, and it will be a throw-in for City. Ain't Nouri. Bernardo Silva. Kushinov. He's got a big job to do to see this victory out for City. Really put the pressure on Arsenal, who travel not so far to the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium for the North London derby, which should be a cracker. And Bernardo Silva gets a yellow card for a late challenge there on the Newcastle player. And he did get a little bit of the ball, but then got some of the man. I think I can understand Bernardo Silva's frustration with that decision. Pope going long with the free kick, cleared by Bernardo Silva. And that is going to be a free kick for Newcastle in a relatively dangerous area. And it's Bernardo Silva again with a needless barge into Dan Burn there. No eyes for the ball. And he's got to be careful because he is on a yellow card, Bernardo Silva. So left of the goal, about 30 yards away, it's a good crossing position for Newcastle, and Tonali put a brilliant ball in towards the end of the first half, and Dan Burn did find the net but was nudged offside by Diaz. So who will it be? Lewis Hall and Tonali both over this dead ball. And it is Lewis Hall, and it's a shot that does hit the side netting. Ambitious to say the least from the Newcastle fullback. Just couldn't whip enough, but I think Donnarumma had it covered anyway. Donnarumma clears it, headed back by Burn. City haven't really got into this second half yet. It's been all Newcastle. But that's a ball over the top to Marmoush, and the flag has stayed down. Marmoush up against Trippier, lays it off to Semenyo, takes a touch, tries to get past Voltemada. It's a good challenge. Still in the box for City. Marmoush on his left foot, blazes over. And eyes look towards the linesman because perhaps Newcastle players thought Marmoush was initially offside when that attack broke out. So Pope out to Trippier. Trippier looking for options. He's got his hands up asking, and Elanga comes to the ball. Back with Trippier, who goes long. Gay watches that. Bouncing ball and heads it forward. Headed back by Trippier. Gordon looks to flick it on. Voltemada looks to hold the ball up. Getting his shirt pulled, but still plays the pass. Here's Hall. Tries to whip it in first time, but it's just overhit. Elanga can't quite keep that in, and he's done a lot of running, Elanga. Won't be surprised if he makes way at some point in this second half for some fresh legs, as he did play in the Champions League against Karabag. Here's Semenyo though, lovely turn. Ramsey tried to hack him down, but it's still Semenyo! And that's over. Good initial play from Antoine Semenyo, who's having a fine season. Recently signed for Manchester City, took that ball down brilliantly in the middle of in midfield, and then drove to the edge of the box, but his shot not finding the target. Nick Pope with the goal kick. Voltemada wins his header, flicks it on. Gordon's chasing that ball, but it's back with Donnarumma, who takes a touch and plays it nice and composedly to... Composedly? Don't know if that's a word, but it is now. Here's Haaland holding the ball up against Dan Burn and wins a foul. Dan Burn on a yellow card, of course. Nothing cynical really in that. It was just maybe a bit clumsy from Dan Burn. But it's always going to be a physical encounter between the two. Yeah, it was just an accidental graze on the back of the foot there. That's a nasty one, but completely accidental from Dan Burn. Haaland disappointed with that challenge, showing his frustrations to the referee there. So a couple of substitutions being warmed up for City, who haven't really got going in this second half, but that's been to the credit of Newcastle. Pope onto Trippier. Alanga looks to turn, nearly does, but Rodri's there on the cover. And it's back with City and Donnarumma in goal. Kushinov can stride forward here. Lovely ball through to Semenyo. Goes back. Here's Nunez. Bernardo Silva out to Gahey. City looking to take control again in this game. Rodri gets brought down, and it will be a free kick for City as we approach the hour mark and changes are being made for City. Ryan Cherki will be about to enter the fray, and a couple of substitutions for Newcastle as well, getting ready. Joe Linton and Harvey Barnes, but it will be Omar Marmoush who comes off. Hasn't been able to get a goal, which is rare for him in a game against Newcastle, but Ryan Cherki, the creative spark for City, comes on. He's their leading assist maker with Haaland now on 7, but he's got 10 assists in all competitions and he's created 14 big chances in the league, which is only bettered by Bruno Fernandes of Manchester United with 18. So a creative danger that Newcastle have to watch very closely as Nunez looks to whip this ball, and Haaland's leaping but can't quite get his head on it, but he's still with City. Rodri out to Bernardo Silva. Okay, out to Nunez, who applauds whilst waiting for the ball to roll into his path. Semenyo, the press is on from Newcastle, but City keeping the ball well. Willock. Jacob Ramsey now. Tried to find Gordon, but is crowded out by Man City players who win the ball back and stop the ball going to Gordon's path. Here's Lewis Hall. So 2 changes for Newcastle. Voltemade, one of the players to make way on the hour mark. And he's going to be replaced by Joe Linton. A good player to bring on. And Harvey Barnes also a threat. Of course, scored 2 in the reverse fixture in Newcastle's win at St James's Park against Man City. And he comes on for Joe Willock. So strong substitutions made by Newcastle as they look for an equaliser, and Arsenal fans and players will be watching, hoping that Newcastle can do them a favour. And Trippier nearly got himself in trouble there. But Chow was there to pick up the loose ball. That's a nice outside of the foot pass from Joe Linton, and Lewis Hall just wasn't on the same wavelength as Harvey Barnes. As Hall tried to play the through ball, but Barnes was making himself an option out wide rather than going in behind. Nunes turns sharply against Barnes, and Barnes brings him down. And that is going to be a yellow card for Barnes. Just introduced and picks up the yellow. Semenyo nearly beats Ramsey, but Newcastle win it. Joe Linton back to Nick Pope. Really good contest this. No goals so far in the second half, but that's a good ball from Ramsey. Here's Alanga now on the right-hand side, in the box, up against Aït-Nouri. Gets down the byline, but it's good strength from the fullback. And it's going to be a goal kick. Great work from Aït-Nouri up against Alanga. But lovely play from Newcastle. Lovely weighted pass from Jacob Ramsey. And Alanga did well really up against Aït-Nouri, but Aït-Nouri was just too strong in the end. Donnarumma looking for Haaland and finding Haaland. I'm not sure if he was looking or not, but Haaland gets it. And takes on Tonali, does well. Cherky to Semenyo. Semenyo with the shot, and it's tame in the end, and it's not been his best night, Antoine Semenyo. A player who started the season brilliantly, but just couldn't get any purchase on that shot, and it was comfortably claimed by Nick Pope. And as long as this game is 2-1, there is a chance for Newcastle. So City will really be wanting to kill the game off with a third goal, but Newcastle really making a good account of themselves. And they're looking for a bit of revenge after their cup exit at the hands of the Citizens. Here's Aït-Nouri though on the left with a bit of space up against Trippier, and he beats him, and Trippier takes him down. The referee checked with the linesman, and it will be a yellow card for the England right back. Great play from Aït-Nouri. He showed a bit of the ball to Trippier with maybe a bit of a heavy touch, and Trippier went for it. But Aït-Nouri just too sharp, too quick. So a free kick for Newcastle to defend. Bernardo Silva whips it in. Haaland hooks it goalwards, but did not get the connection he wanted, and it just spiralled very wide of the mark. Well, Newcastle, they have found it difficult in general against top half teams that they've played. They're winless in 10. And they haven't been able to win away at a team in the top 2 in 37 attempts. Only managing 5 draws in those attempts as well. So it is a tough ask. But it always is against a side of this calibre. But Newcastle will keep pushing, they'll keep plugging away, and they'll keep looking to create chances. But one thing is for sure, City are a different proposition to the one that lost at St James's Park earlier on in the season. City unbeaten in 7 in all competitions too. And they've really shored up defensively, because I think that was a question mark at the start of the season. And they really have shored up, and Gay on the ball now has been a part of that. Cherky to Rodri. Rodri switching the play, and Barnes watches it and watches it well. But it is going to be a free kick for Newcastle. And despite it just being in their own half, by the halfway line, they are going to load the box, or load the edge of the box. Trippier is over to take this. And both the centre-backs are up. And every City player's back, other than Cherky. And Barnes, can he take it down? And it's Donnarumma comes for it, punches it. Ramsey looks to hook it back into the box. Bernardo Silva thought it was going to bounce out, but it didn't. And his header finds Barnes. Here's Hall. Back to Barnes. He gets a cross in, he's dinked it in, and it's headed away well by Haaland. Tonali heading, and Haaland getting a big hug from his teammates there after doing some really good defensive work. City win it back though in a dangerous position. The light blue shirts are flooding forward. Bernardo Silva, it's fallen to O'Reilly. Newcastle players back now though. Dinked in, headed away by Hall. And Gordon lays it off to Joelinton, and it's going to be a free kick for Newcastle. And it's taken quickly. A chance perhaps for Newcastle. Alanga, Tonali's made himself an option. Alanga making the run. He's found by Tonali, goes for goal. He keeps it, tries to play it back to Tonali, but City win it. And that was a dangerous opportunity for Newcastle. A couple of City players out of position. And Newcastle have been really good in this second half. City not really creating anything. And Newcastle do get a foul by the halfway line. O'Reilly just pulling back. Chow. And the box is being loaded again. Gordon in a very offside position, but he's not the target, and it's whipped in and it's headed away. Hall looks to hold the ball up against Semenyo, but has to go back to Nick Pope. But it's been all Newcastle in this second half. City not getting a sniff. Here's Barnes. Up against O'Reilly, who's at right back at the moment. Joelinton back to Hall. Here's Barnes. Barnes. Joelinton. Ramsey. Trippier. Alanga finds Ramsey. Ramsey tries to drill it in, but it's well defended by Nunes, who blocks it and can charge forward, but just shows a bit too much of it to the onrushing Joelinton. And Newcastle have it now. Barnes needs to be careful because Kushinov comes steaming out and clearing. But Newcastle still with it. Pope to Tonali. Hall. Throw in for Newcastle on this left-hand side. And Eddie Howe will be really pleased with the performance of his side in this game, especially in the second half. And Eddie Howe is in conversation with Jacob Murphy, who will be coming on looking to make a difference. But here's an opening for City. This is the danger. Haaland marauding forward and shooting, and it's blocked well by Newcastle. And now City can look to break. Here's Trippier. Alanga, he might be coming off shortly. What's his last act going to be? Tonali. On to Barnes. Looked for the 1-2 with Joelinton. It has found Barnes again. Trippier. And Alanga looked across. And it's a corner. And I think Alanga knows he's about to be replaced, but I think he wants to just stay on for this corner. So it will be Alanga to take, and it can't beat the first man. Alanga once more though. Trippier. Tonali. Trippier. Has to go back to Tonali. Trippier again. Looks to play it forward for Alanga. Gordon's got there and he's won a corner. And yeah, I did think Elanga was just offside, and he was, and it was just as well Gordon came to get the ball. So a corner for Newcastle, this time to be taken by Lewis Hall. Elanga still on the pitch. Eddie Howe, I'm sure, not wanting this phase to end at the moment and not wanting to cut it short. And it does go short to Trippier, who whips it in first time, headed forward, and it's claimed comfortably by Donnarumma. And all pressure is released. But Newcastle are coming forward again, and Hall went down asking for a foul, looked it, but referee didn't give anything, and Haaland comes charging forward again and trying to beat everyone, and almost did that, but Chiao was there in the nick of time. Barnes trying to find Gordon running in behind. but it's won back by City. Kushinov back to Donnarumma. 15 minutes left of normal time. There's time for Newcastle, but also time for City if they pick their moment, because Newcastle are committing bodies forward. So there will be space and an opportunity for City to create an opening. Joelinton now shielding the ball, winning a free kick against Kushinov. So substitutions are now going to be made by Newcastle, or just after this free kick that's going to be taken by Tonali. It's a deep one. Joelinton prods it towards goal, but goes wide, and now the substitutions can be made for the Magpies. So it will be Anthony Elanga to make way for Jacob Murphy. And Anthony Gordon also makes way for Osula. Can they be the difference makers? And it's a win that would put City 2 points behind Arsenal before that North London derby on Sunday. So City needing to get over the line here. Burn back to the goalkeeper. Haaland pressing. He's put a real shift in as Haaland in this second half. Showed a bit of quality in the first to get that assist for O'Reilly, but really showed another side to his game in this second half. Heading balls away, battling in the box. In City's box, that is. Donnarumma back to Gay. Oh, that's lovely from City. Real opportunity here. Ain't Nori. Haaland's an option, but Ain't Nori does neither. Doesn't shoot, doesn't find Haaland, and almost falls over the ball. And that was a big opportunity for City, and they're going to get those because Newcastle are going to commit bodies forward. Osula now pressing. Donnarumma being forced to clear by Osula, and that's good pressing from the newly introduced forward. Lovely hook ball that was from Bernardo Silva to give Ain't Nori an opportunity, and he tried to cut inside Ain't Nori but just couldn't execute it, and it fell in the grateful arms of Nick Pope, and he could come to rue that if Newcastle get anything from this game. That could be a big moment in the season, perhaps, if Newcastle can get something here. So a free kick for Newcastle on the right. Murphy whips a brilliant ball in, and it's a lunge from Byrne, but can't quite get to the ball and reach it. But Newcastle win the ball back. Hall, lovely footwork. Falls over originally, but can't quite find the through ball though, and City win it back. But it is back with Newcastle. Nunez's clearance just gives Newcastle the ball back. And they will look to attack once more. Chiao looks to switch play. Can't find his man though. Bernardo Silva chests it down, but it's won back by Ramsey, who's done some good work in the midfield for Newcastle. Hasn't quite become a regular, but he's found in the pocket, and a run's being made by Murphy, but that ball from Ramsey just overhit. But a good idea from Newcastle and Jacob Ramsey. Donnarumma rolls out. Kushinov to Semenyo. He gets a bit of fortune after he lost it. Cherky now with the ball. Rodri to Semenyo. Semenyo on the right. Back with Rodri. Cherky turns. Nicely switched over to Ain't Nori, who takes his time, plays it back to Gahey. City in no rush. Gay out to Bernardo Silva. Newcastle putting the press on with Osula, but that's a lovely flick, and Haaland just couldn't quite manipulate the ball where he wanted to. Chiao. Trippier to Ramsey. Tonali now for Newcastle. Will Newcastle have a say in this title race and take points off title chasing Manchester City? Flicked forward, but well headed away by Gahey. An advantage is played by the referee. City can look to break here, but it's slowed down by Cherky. And Semenyo is still down for City, so play will be stopped. And it's a game where any win will do for City. They know they're up against a tough opposition and a team who is rejuvenated after 3 away wins on the bounce in all competitions. And they would have been aware that the away sides will have had a chip on their shoulder after being comfortably knocked out in the Carabao Cup. So if they do get 3 points, it will be a well-received 3 points and a satisfying evening. And it would be 3 points that just gets them closer to Arsenal and tests the nerves of the side who are still waiting for that elusive Premier League trophy that they've craved for over 20 years. And Tonali, or Joelinton rather, giving away a free kick to his dismay. Clipping Cherky. And it will be a change for Manchester City, and Phil Foden will be coming on. He was a regular starter a couple of months ago, but he's struggling to find the starting 11 at the moment. And it will be Antoine Semenyo who makes way. And Phil Foden is on 99 goal contributions in the Premier League, so a goal or an assist to cap off the game today not only would secure a vital 3 points for City, it would also get into 100 Premier League goal involvements. "87 minutes gone. Time is running out for Newcastle. And they've lost a little bit of momentum. They had a really good phase in the game between the 70th and the 80th minute. Those 10 minutes were really ominous for Newcastle. But Murphy tried to play that ball through to Osula, who'd slipped actually and wasn't able to get back onside. But can Newcastle create some more chances before the game is up? Pope going long just beyond Joelinton, and it's hooked away by Nunes. Lewis Hall headed by Krishanov. Tonight Joelinton battling, but it's a free kick for Man City, and Joelinton, he's going to get a yellow card. And here's a frustrated figure out there. A couple of decisions he feels hasn't gone his way. But that was a bit reckless from Joelinton. Can't really have any complaints there, really. Just slightly grabbing the neck of Joelinton to try and, well, to pull him away from the ball, which he did, and forced Rodri to the ground. Tonali. Love brilliantly gets it through a crowd of City players, plays it through looking for Osula, but Kuzanov is not slow and managed to win that ball and win that race. Bernardo Silva clips it over Haaland. Lovely touch onto Cherky, and City can break. Foden's on the right. Cherky plays it to Foden just beyond him, forces him wide, and then crossed it in, but it was blocked by Hall, and Cherky with some nice feet, but Joelinton gets the tackle in, but it is still with City. City getting so close to a massive 3 points in their Premier League season and their quest for glory. Ain't Nori. Gay. 4 minutes of added time. 4 minutes for Newcastle. To get what will be a vital equaliser, but Haaland's going in, and it's a big save from Nick Pope. Foden though with the effort, and it's saved by the legs of Pope. And that would have been the sealer. Still with City. The ball is right where they want it to be. And it's a lovely possession from Manchester City. And it's with Núñez. Joelinton intercepts, but it's going to be a throw-in for City. And Tonali's down. Foden collects that long throw from Núñez, and it's going to be a throw-in for City. Will Newcastle have one last opportunity to equalise? It's not looking so likely. Only a couple of minutes left. But Newcastle do have the throw. And it's cleared by Hall. Gay hooks it away. Headed back by Joelinton. Ramsey battling. Tanar. Joelinton. And it's back with Newcastle now. One last opportunity, perhaps. Trippier. To Murphy. Chow. City closing Newcastle down, but Newcastle do well to evade the pressure. Murphy's pass was just a bit loose, and City can pick the ball up, and they can come forward again. Erling Haaland now up against Byrne. Can't find that elusive goal as he looked to get past Chow, but Chow was equal to it, and it's going to be a free kick for Newcastle. And Pope will launch this one forward. Can Newcastle get the first contact? They need to. It's played short to Trippier, who will then go long. Haaland can't quite win his header. It's fallen to Barnes! And his volley goes wide. I'm not sure if that took a deflection or not. But that was a chance. There were appeals for handball from Joelinton. But it will be a corner for Newcastle. Nick Pope is up, and this is the last chance for Newcastle to get an equaliser. It's whipped in by Tonali. Donnarumma punching, Haaland heading away. Murphy needs to go in, and it goes the wrong way. Trippier whips it in, and it's gone all the way out to Tonali, who whips it in. Headed away by Bernardo Silva, and that's the final whistle. A crucial 3 points for Manchester City. A hard-fought 3 points at that. Donnarumma, O'Reilly, Haaland embracing. Pep embracing his coaching staff as he knows that is a vital win as they put the pressure on Arsenal before the North London derby tomorrow. City, with the win here, they go 2 points behind Arsenal to put the pressure on. But for Newcastle, a good performance from them overall. I think Eddie Howe will be pleased as a whole, but they just couldn't quite find that equaliser. They had chances, but that O'Reilly double in the first half is the difference in the end. Full time here at the Etihad. It's finished Manchester City 2, Newcastle 1.